They say love feels safest when you're alone together. But what if being alone reveals the truth you were never meant to see? My name is Deed, I'm 26, and I thought I had the perfect boyfriend, John. He was tall, charming, always smiling, the kind of man who made you believe nothing bad could ever happen when he was around. One weekend, he looked at me with that same sweet smile and said, "Let's go camping, just you and me. No phones, no city, no distractions." It sounded perfect. I loved nature, and I loved him even more. We drove for hours until the city disappeared behind us. The tall buildings turned into endless trees, and the noise of life faded into soft silence. It was peaceful, maybe too peaceful. The deeper we went into that forest, the quieter it became, almost as if the woods were holding their breath, waiting. When we finally reached a lake surrounded by tall pines, the air smelled fresh, like rain and mystery. We set up the tent, cooked dinner, laughed under the stars. Everything felt like a dream. But that night, something about John felt different. He wasn't playful or warm. His eyes kept scanning the dark around us, his hand nervously checking his watch. I asked softly, "John, is everything okay?" He smiled, that same smile, but this time, it didn't reach his eyes. "Everything's fine," he said. "Tonight will be special." I didn't know what he meant. I just remember the forest around us going quiet, too quiet. And somewhere deep inside, I felt the first chill of fear. That night, the air felt heavier than usual. The wind whispered through the trees, and the moonlight shimmered across the surface of the lake like a warning I couldn't understand. John sat by the fire, staring into the flames, his face half-lit, half-shadowed, like he was hiding something in plain sight. I tried to laugh it off, tried to pull him back into the warmth we used to share. "You look like you're planning something," I teased, hoping to lighten the mood. He looked at me slowly, his eyes distant. "Maybe I am," he said softly. I felt my chest tighten. There was something behind that tone, something cold. I looked around. The forest was dead silent. Not even a cricket dared to sing. That's when I heard it, a faint snap behind the tent. My heart jumped. "Did you hear that?" I whispered. John didn't move. His voice was low and strange. "Don't worry, babe. It's just the forest, it's always watching." Watching? The word crawled under my skin. I stood up, clutching my jacket tighter. The shadows around the trees looked deeper now, darker. I took a step toward the sound, but John's hand caught my wrist tight. Too tight. "Don't," he said. "Stay close to me." For the first time in our relationship, I felt fear, not from the dark, but from him. His grip lingered, his eyes unreadable. And for a split second, I saw something I never wanted to see in the man I loved. A secret. One that wasn't meant for me to discover. The next morning, John acted like nothing had happened. He was calm, smiling, cooking breakfast by the fire as if last night was a dream I had made up. But deep inside I knew it wasn't. The way he looked at me had changed. His smile no longer felt like comfort, it felt like a mask. "Sleep well?" he asked, handing me a cup of coffee. I nodded, though my hands were trembling. "Yet just tired." "Good," he said, staring into my eyes, "because tonight's going to be even better." That sentence haunted me. Tonight's going to be even better. What did he mean? I tried to laugh, but the sound died in my throat. The forest around us seemed to listen, quiet, expectant, waiting. As the sun began to set, I saw him walking toward the lake with something in his hand, a small wooden box. I called his name, but he didn't turn around. The shadows stretched long and thin, wrapping around him like dark hands. When he finally returned, he sat close to me and whispered, "Do you trust me?" My heart raced. "Of course I do." "Then promise me," he said. "No matter what happens tonight, you won't open that box." His words froze me. I hadn't seen the box before, but it felt ancient, almost alive. The carvings on its surface looked like they were moving under the light of the fire. I forced a smile, nodding slowly. But deep inside, I already knew that box would change everything. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every sound felt louder. The wind against the tent, the creak of branches, even John's slow breathing beside me. My eyes kept drifting to that box. It sat near the firelight, untouched. But somehow, it felt like it was watching me. John had fallen asleep, Or at least I thought he had. His hand rested near the box, possessive, as if he feared it might disappear. My curiosity clawed at me until it was unbearable. What could possibly be inside? Why would he hide it from me? Slowly I reached out. My fingers brushed the cold wooden surface. It was smooth, too smooth, like something sacred and dangerous all at once. I lifted the lid, just slightly. A sudden voice broke the silence. I told you not to open it. I froze. John's eyes were open, staring right at me, glowing faintly in the flicker of the fire. His tone wasn't angry, it was sad. You shouldn't have done that, Myra. I gasped. Myra? That wasn't my name. The box slipped from my hands, hitting the ground with a dull thud. A small photograph fell out, an old, faded picture of a woman who looked exactly like me, but older. Her smile was hauntingly familiar. John stood, his shadow stretching long and twisted against the tent. Now you know why I brought you here, he whispered. I couldn't speak. My body trembled. The forest outside howled as if it knew something terrible had been awakened. And in that moment I realized the box didn't just hold secrets, it held her. The wind outside began to roar, and the fire flickered like it was afraid. I stared at John, my heart pounding so loud it drowned out the night. Who is she? I whispered, pointing at the photograph. He didn't answer. He just knelt by the box, tracing his fingers over its carvings, almost lovingly. She was my wife, he said softly, his voice breaking. Her name was Myra. My throat went dry. John's eyes lifted to mine, filled with something between guilt and madness. She died here, in this forest. I buried her myself. My breath caught. The air felt colder now, heavier. Why bring me here then? He smiled, a slow, heartbreaking smile. Because you remind me of her. The way you talk, the way you laugh, even the way you love. It's like she's alive again through you. I stepped back, shaking. John, this isn't love. This is obsession. His voice dropped to a whisper. No, Myra, it's destiny. The moment he said her name again, something behind him moved. The shadows twisted, forming a shape, a woman's silhouette. Her voice was faint, echoing through the wind. You promised me forever, John. John froze, his eyes wide with terror. No, not again. The air turned icy, the trees creaked, and the earth seemed to breathe beneath us. The box snapped shut by itself, sealing whatever was inside once more. And when I looked up, John was gone. Only the photo remained, and the faint sound of a woman laughing from somewhere deep in the forest. When I woke up, the world was quiet again. The fire had died, and the morning fog covered everything like a shroud. The box was gone. John was gone. It was as if the forest had swallowed them both whole. I stumbled outside the tent, my breath visible in the cold air. The lake shimmered in the distance, calm, untouched, almost peaceful. But peace was a lie. Near the edge of the water, I saw footprints. His footprints, leading into the lake but never coming back. My knees went weak. John, I screamed, but the echo only came back as a whisper, my own voice trembling through the trees. Something caught my eye, a glint near the roots of a tree. It was the photograph. I picked it up. The image had changed. Now it wasn't just Myra and John. There were three of us. Myra, John, and me. My heart stopped. I dropped the photo, my hands shaking. And that's when I heard it. The faint sound of a woman humming. It was coming from the lake. The same tune John used to hum when we fell asleep. I stepped closer, drawn by something I couldn't explain. The reflection in the water wasn't mine anymore. It was hers. Myra's face, smiling at me. I screamed and stumbled back, but when I looked again it was gone. The lake was still. The forest silent. As I turned to leave, I saw a carving on the nearest tree. Words etched deep into the bark. Forever, Myra. And then I realized, maybe I was never meant to leave that forest alive.